Hey guys, um, my buddy Steve, he's up here camping on this ridge, and he has no idea that I'm here. And I owe him big time. He thinks I'm working a double shift. I'm not at work. I've been watching him for the past 30, maybe 40 minutes. I've been making noises. he thinks he thinks something's out in the woods with him. And anyway, oh crap, I think he's made me. Uh, what the?
Hey guys, I'm here and well. They let me go. Uh, I think that when they had me aboard the craft, that they said this guy, he's way too primitive, and we'll just go ahead and leave him be. No, all kidding aside, um, I think it was Madison C Iowa, her channel. She put out I think it was a request, or just asked people if they wanted to participate on the International UFO Day, or to make a video rather for International UFO Day, which is going to be on July the 2nd. And I'll be honest, it piqued my interest. I was like, I think I'll do one, and talk about, possibly, I guess, my favorite story, or the story that I just can't let go. I'm not 100% sold on maybe the reality that these things exist. Aliens, UFOs, and abducting people. Although it's fascinating, there's a lot of arguments for, but there's also a lot of arguments against. But one story in particular that I've never been able to let go, and I've known about it since I was a child, was, I guess you could say, the Travis Walton incident. Um, I'm still to this day, I'm like, why would someone continue to say, yes, I was abducted, after all the ridicule, even in his own town? And from my understanding, Mr. Walton still resides in Snowflake, Arizona, and I can't see why anyone would hold on to such a story after all these years. I've heard all kinds of comments about him. Oh, he's lying, they made it up. They were contracted to basically clear a specific area of forest for, I guess, the government, and they were behind on that contract, so they made this up so they could get money. I mean, there's all kinds of things. What I'm going to do here in a moment is I'm going to show some series of photos and talk about, the incident in itself a little bit, and that way I can familiarize those of you who are not familiar with it, which I can't see many people, if they know anything about UFOs or abduction cases, not knowing about this specific incident. But anyway, give me a moment and I'll get these pictures rolling and add some commentary, and I'll talk a little bit about that. On November the 5th, 1975, 7 men who were logging in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona, just shortly after 6 o'clock, I believe it was, came upon a strange object hovering by the road as they were leaving that area of the woods. One of the occupants, Travis Walton, who at the time was 22, had gotten out of the truck apparently and had approached this object. Now, the rest of the crew, from my understanding, were yelling at him to come back. And when this thing started to move a little bit and vibrate and make noise, as he turned to run, they claimed that a bluish green light had come out of this object, a UFO, whatever it was, and struck Travis. Well, they took off and they just got the heck out of Dodge, from my understanding. And when they got to this small town, I can't remember what it's called, just outside of, I think it was, or near that area. It's probably close to Snowflake, Arizona. I think it was called Heber, and I could be wrong about that. But they called the police, and they told the story, and apparently, this whole thing went on for days. From my understanding, the gentlemen who were witness to this were even asked to take polygraphs. All of them passing, except for, I believe it was Alan Dallas, whose test proved to be, I believe it was, inconclusive. From my understanding, Mr. Dallas is, he was so keyed up and so screwed up over this because he felt everybody was going to basically be pointing the finger at him because he was, quote unquote, kind of like the hellraiser of the crew. He was nervous about it, but Cy Gilson, the polygraph administrator, and from my understanding, he's a really good one, and suggested that these men, including the one who was all keyed up, were telling the truth. After the crew had been hassled so much and questioned quite a bit by the police, as you can imagine, and then passing the polygraph, they began to ease up. But after 5 days of missing, Travis Walton showed up. He claims that he was dropped off by this UFO on a highway, and he was able to make his way to a payphone, and he called, I believe it was Mike Rogers, and I think it may have been his brother Dwayne. I'm not sure on that, but I do know that they came and they picked him up. You can imagine the media circus surrounding this small town in Snowflake, Arizona at the time, 1975. Oh, geez, I can only imagine. It's a really interesting story. It really is. Travis Walton has never really recanted his story. He still maintains to this day that it happened. It's not particularly something that he's positive about. It was a very negative experience for him. There are always going to be the naysayers, that say that Travis is still lying. I'm not going to talk a whole lot more about the particulars of it. I'd like it if you guys would go and watch the movie, maybe read the book first and then watch the movie, because the movie that was made about this is called Fire in the Sky, and it stars D.B. Sweeney, I believe, and he plays Travis Walton. But Travis Walton says that, and based off what I've read from the book myself, that it deviates quite a bit from what he actually put out there as the story that had occurred. But nonetheless, you guys should watch a documentary over it if you're not familiar with it. Maybe the movie Fire in the Sky, or read Travis Walton's book. It does it does have a creepy, eerie feeling to it. The whole story does. Something like this would happen to someone. Now, did it really happen? I don't know. I can't say for 100% certain. What I can say is, though, that there are a lot of probably phonies out there. People who are fake, and they'd like to ride on the coattails of guys like Travis Walton and Mike Rogers. And Mike Rogers himself said in an interview one time that he believes in the fringe benefits, and he believes he was seeing it at that moment, and he was making reference to fakes and phonies who were basically trying to ride on their name, getting a free ride, a publicity. But I can't say 100% certain if all this is true. The only person that can tell the truth would be Travis Walton himself, and only he knows 100% certain. I mean, they've never been able to show any proof that these men perpetrated a hoax, and it's been all these years, so who knows. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing other videos on it. Have a good night and a good weekend.